chasing freedom down the line. But the road gets rough and muddy, and the dust sure likes to cling. When the day is done and the fun's been won, I know just what to bring. Griot's Garage Adventure Line keeps my rig looking mighty fine. From the roof to the wheels, the seats and the steel, it's adventure ready every time. Play hard, don't be afraid to get dirty. With Griot, you're always in your prime. Clean up and shine with Adventure Line. Took my boat down to the river, let the good times flow. Caught a little mud on the hull from the shallows down below. But a quick wipe down and a little elbow grease. With those Griot's tools and those adventure rules, I'm back to that showroom piece. Griot's Garage Adventure Line keeps my boat looking mighty fine. From the bow to the stern, you live and you learn. It's adventure ready every time. Play hard, don't be afraid to get dirty. With Griot, you're always in your prime. Clean up and shine with Adventure Line. ATVs out in the backwoods, mud on my boots and a smile on my face. When the trail runs wild and the cleaning gets tough, Griot's Garage puts it all back in place. So here's to the wanderers, the dreamers, the crew, with campers and kayaks.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another edition of Griot's Garage YouTube Live. I am Nick,
I'm Sam.
And I'm Stevie.
and today I'm feeling a bit adventurous.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Just launched the Adventure Line almost exactly 2 weeks ago.
Yes,
Today.
Our first foray into some of the other toys that we all, play with, and we're excited about it. So 6 unique formulations that we introduced early June, and right in time for the season when we're all going out and using them. And really, we're going to talk about the family, the rationale behind them, and then the products themselves. So, just as always, if this is your first time in a YouTube Live, definitely raise your hand. We love to, we're very generous in these lives. We want you to participate via the chat, submit questions. We will be giving away an entire kit that features all the brand new chemicals in the Adventure Line. So we're going to be giving away quite a bit of them. And then again, we're going to talk about each chemical individually. Presume there's going to be some applied and very specific questions, and we hope to get to some of those as well, as we usually do. But of course, if this isn't your first time, submitting a question and then not getting answered today, we follow up with a program called No Questions Left Behind, which we post here on our YouTube Live every Friday, which is another chance to win something and get your specific question answered. So again, welcome. If it's your first time here, let us know. And if not, get ready for some fun.
Yeah, the main purpose of today is to really give you guys a thorough explanation of the whole Adventure Line family and each of the products within it, and to answer any of your questions. We're not going to be actually doing any demos today, so it'll be mainly a Q&A session, but we'll try to keep things interesting for you guys, as we always tend to do. And yeah, I think we're giving away 6 kits total, right?
Did I say 5? We're giving away a lot.
Yeah,
so definitely get active, ask your questions, and let's get going. Gosh, we are in the heart of event season.
Yep.
We got a ton going on. We're going to be
big
all
ones
over the country in June. The weather has been exceptional here in Washington. In fact, so good that it's made us want to leave in RVs, planes, trains, automobiles, boats, and everything. So our first event is coming up this weekend. We've had some events already this month, but back to the 50s on the Minnesota State Fairgrounds. It's a huge event. Jeff and team will be out there working. We've got a huge display. You know, our new events truck and trailer are out. 13,000 car show. It's going to be hot and humid,
Yeah,
so
it's a big one.
expect that. But really fun one.
That one's right there in St. Paul, Minnesota. And then next up, we got the Good Guys 34th Speedway Motors Heartland Nationals at Iowa State Fairgrounds, July 4th through the 6th. So 4th of July weekend. That's going to be a really fun show, being that it's 4th of July weekend.
Oh, yeah. And
Hot rods and 4th of July go together like
hot dogs and
peanut butter
baseball.
and jelly.
Yeah, I mean, that is an awesome show. I brought my Lincoln out there in 2018.
Nice.
And it's one that usually is hard for us to make, just given our show schedule in general, but we're going to be there. Porsche Parade for the Porsche Club, always an awesome event. Sam and I have been to a few of those. Stuttgart's finest out,
Yeah,
and
lot
a great
of
celebration
fun.
of Porsche.
Great crowd.
That is for Porsche Club members only, but if you're not part of the Porsche Club and you have a Porsche, come on, man. That's a great club to be a part of.
Yeah.
That
Well
is
worth the money.
in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, July 6th through the 12th. And we're still going.
Yeah, we got 2 more Good Guys show. Well, sorry. Oh, yeah. Technically, 2 more Good Guys events for the same show, but Good Guys 37th Griot's Garage Pacific Northwest Nationals. That's our headliner Good Guys show that we do with them here at the Washington State or Puyallup Fairgrounds, depending on which one you know them by. The kickoff party for that show is July 24th, the Friday ahead of it, at our flagship store here in Tacoma from 2 to 6 p.m. That's a lot of fun. We usually open up the back for tours. We get all the hot rods cruising in for that kickoff party. I think we've done a poker run.
Yeah,
few
it's
years
a
too,
big event.
Yeah, that's a fun one. All day long, got awesome cars cruising through the lot, so that's a very fun one. And then the show, the subsequent Saturday and Sunday, the 25th through the 27th, that is also at Washington State Fairgrounds. So keep in mind, the kickoff party is here at Griot's Garage in Tacoma, and then the actual Good Guys event to follow is at the fairgrounds.
Yeah, if you're local and haven't gone to that show, it's one of the best shows in the state. And I'm excited because I'll actually be home for that for the first time in a couple of years.
Nice.
So
Heck
definitely
yeah.
going to roll out in some hardware for sure. Okay, we have an active sale going on. Our 20% off liquid sale is active right now. So if you're thinking about restocking, if we drive any intrigue with the Adventure Line products, all those are going to be discounted. For the 20% off sale, but hey, it's good weather. I washed 2 cars on Father's Day. It was a fantastic Father's Day. My wife asked me if I really wanted to do that, and I was like, yeah, just leave me alone and let me wash cars. Like, that sounds like a great day to me.
Yeah.
So I was consuming some product. If you're out there and you need some liquid restock, it's a great time to do so.
Yeah, no better time. SM Liquid, 20% off all liquid car care. And then we do have a giveaway winner from our last No Questions Left Behind. We mentioned that if there were any accurate guesses to the product line we were launching in the comments from the live or the No Questions Left Behind, that we would do our first giveaway to whoever was the first to guess accurately. I think we actually only had 1 accurate guess, so that made it easy. And David Boyce, 6427, if you're here today, you are our winner. So email us at winners@griotsgarage.com, and we will get that set of Adventure Line products out to you. Congratulations, David. Great guess. He guessed Marine Line, but it's within the purview of the system, so we gave it to him.
Without a doubt, Marine is covered here. So we got No Questions Left Behind. Again, if this is your first time here, we'd love for you to tell the bean counters we're doing a good job by subscribing, throwing us a like, follow us on the socials. We're getting more active in TikTok. The kids still like it, apparently, and still operating in full. And then, of course, sign up for our emails. That's the best way to find out about new product launches and all of the sales that we get to tell you about here. But we really appreciate you guys. And again, we can already see a lot of questions coming through. So if we don't get to them all, No Questions Left Behind will be on Friday. And we are not doing a live in July. We're going to take the month off and do work on the rest of the new stuff that
Yeah.
is going to come out the rest of the year.
Yeah, July's a big vacation month too, so I know you guys are thinking about other things.
Yeah, hopefully you're outside during July.
Yeah,
Maybe on an adventure.
Taking out an adventure rig and using the product. So yeah, we'll get back with you guys in August.
Okay, so Adventureline overall. You guys have known us as Griot's Garage, and outside of a very brief deviation into home care goods, Griot's Home was sometime in the early 2000s. You know, we did a lot of legitimate research to stand up what we believe is the start of a very awesome future family of products in what we're deeming the Adventureline. And so, you know, from some of the questions we're already seeing, you know, what research did we do? We did substantial amounts. We did, you know, market research with third parties, our own utility and kind of need for specific and or applied products. Just the growing consumer base and their need to have products that are for their specific uses, right? Yeah. So we know how to make chemicals. We make some fantastic ones. And we took everything we knew and applied it to what really was some of the biggest categories in both the RV, ATV, and marine spaces. And again, this is just the start.
Yep. Just start, yeah. We had to start somewhere. So these are the core 6 products in our wash and wax, multi-purpose citrus cleaner. And then on Nick's cart, we've got Restore and Seal, which is an all-in-one type product. Mist and Wipe, which is your detail spray, clay lubricant, clean up while you're out traveling product. And then Spray Wax, which is your durable base protection for all of your exterior surfaces, including PVC roof, vinyl awnings, all of those things. And then vinyl and rubber protectant being the last of them. This is a kind of an all-purpose type dressing, if you will, that's great on interior as well as exterior surfaces, really any bare, unfinished vinyl, rubber, or plastic.
And in particular, when your interior surfaces are exterior surfaces, such in marine applications and ATVs and UTVs. I mean, really, it's one of the products that, you know, historically having used a marine grade product for, you know, our boat, I was very excited to be able to utilize and develop one that was our own.
Yep. Already have some questions coming in kind of on the next topic we were going to talk about, which is kind of some of the chemical composition and the features of these. Let's see.
So specific chemistry
Dark
to
Dragon.
you know, to the materials and that are commonly found. Of course, that is really the biggest thing. I mean, again, can you utilize some of our Griot's Garage standard products successfully on these same types of vehicles? Absolutely. However, you know, there are, you know, specific materials to these that we really wanted to formulate products that served those materials. So very common materials that aren't so common in high production OEMs for automobiles. You've got a lot of gel coat, fiberglass, plastics, again, the vinyls that have that kind of dual utility of being exposed to more weather, different types of you know, soiling, whether that be mud and or salt water, very much you know, similar but different chemistry, right?
Yeah. You have a much wider range of surfaces spanning across, you know, trailers, RVs, motorhomes, whatever you want to call them, and then all the way over to, like Nick was saying, you know, boats, jet skis, ATVs, dirt bikes, UTVs. You know, you've got a much wider range of surfaces than what you're going to see on a standard automobile. So that's the reason for the, you know, the different chemistry there, and specifically formulating these to be compatible with that wide range of surfaces, as well as the fact that you're doing bigger sections. You're almost always going to be outside, or probably more commonly outside, because some of these vehicles are harder to get into a garage space. So, you know, creating some more user friendliness as well for those larger surfaces, removing a little bit of the reactivity from some of the formulas. And Dark Dragon asked if any of these have SiO2 properties similar to the you know, automotive specific products. The answer to that is yes. So the VNR protectant, mist and wipe, restore and seal, and spray wax do all contain SiO2. We didn't market it on the labels because in this space, in the RV and marine market, there's not a lot of awareness to ceramic. So focusing on the uses of the products, but using bringing over some of that chemistry from the automotive market that we know and trust and have a lot of confidence in making your lives easier on your toys and your larger vehicles as well.
Yeah, and again, part of that is our own, unique experiences. A lot of mine based in marine applications and boating. Pacific Northwest, we have a lot of exposure to it. And then, as our employee base has grown, we live in a wonderful place for ATVs, off-roading in the form of both a vehicle to tow a trailer and the paths, or ATV specific and or cross-country road trips. This is the core of what we do. It's not simply automotive. So, part of speaking to a larger consumer base is, hey, does this work on my thing? I think we were able to say, hey, it makes a lot of sense at this point to stop trying to stretch the utility of an automotive specific product that serves the finishes we're familiar with and develop more use-specific chemicals. Likewise, I think this is just the start, right? We focused on 6 core products that really serve the highest, probability of a shared material across those 3: ATV, UTV, or ATV, RV, and marine. Excuse me. But from there, the Adventure Line Marine, Adventure Line ATV, Adventure Line RV. We're going to get into even more specific uses over time. However, if you guys have been following us for long enough, you understand we want to be very deliberate about our chemical development. And as such, hey, if we're selling something you guys are buying and we can justify going and developing more and more products for more and more specific uses, that's where we're going to go.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, a couple of you have asked, what was the motivation? I think, Nick just said a lot of it there. And just like we're all car guys, this is my trailer behind us. I'm getting ready to take out this weekend. And, we all have toys that we love and love using and taking care of as well. So it was a pretty natural extension of the automotive products. I think we've got quite a few outdoor folks around Griot's garage that, whether it be a boat, trailer, motorcycle, dirt bike, whatever it is. There's lots of it in this building, so it was a natural extension. Yeah,
and one of the other elements too, we have these standard sizes here. You can see the spray bottle standard 25 ounce. We've got a pint of the Restore and Seal, but we will be offering gallon sizes of these products. They are not yet to market, so we're going to really talk about the core chemicals and their utility, and then yes, you will be able to buy bulk. As we've accessorized these on our website, we have high quality accessories like our foam cannons, our wash mop sticks, some things that will serve with these chemicals to aid in those larger surfaces or vehicles in general. So, and then somebody asked, will they be available in local stores? That's the hope. But at this point, this is a brand new launch in our specifically in our channel, direct to consumer, griotsgarage.com. The channels and other areas that you can buy them from will expand over time. But, we're here to get you excited about them. And again, ask good questions. You're going to get a set of them for free. You don't have to worry about going and buying them in a store. We're going to give them to you.
Yep. They are available in our Tacoma store, of course. They've been flying off the shelves here locally. So if you're around the area, you can come pick them up same day here at the office.
Yeah. What was the LT1 Bill? What was the particular problem or customer request that sparked the idea for this new line? Really, it is again a market study that showed, hey, there's a large opportunity for Griot's Garage as a business to go serve that customer who, in that same market study, was hesitant to buy car-specific products. They wanted to know that it worked on their vehicles in particular, right? That they trusted that those products would be formulated specifically for their needs or materials. So that's a pretty easy solution for us. We know how to make the chemicals. Now we need to know how to make a chemical that serves that customer and the materials that they're concerned with. That's the use case. At the end of the day, us explaining how a specific automotive product, when used a certain way, can be used on marine and RV is a little bit exhausting versus, hey, we can solve a lot of this and open our business up to a brand new set of customers. So yes, this is very much still a for-profit business here at Griot's Garage. We had enough asks that we said there's something there. And again, we're proud of the utility and the net new formulations that we've created here and can't wait for more.
Yep. Yes, of course they are scented.
Yeah.
Dark Dragon asked if they're scented. I'm not going to tell you exactly what the scents are, but they're all more kind of outdoorsy or earthy tones, I suppose you could say.
Inspirational. They will evoke some
by
sense of what you get to accomplish when you're playing with an RV or a boat or an ATV. You're going to have fun, and they're going to smell good, just like everything else we made.
They're all great. There's none that I don't like.
Yeah, I mean, Sam and I, we got to put them to heavy use as we were really doing a lot of the video work along with the rest of the team and some of our employees whose vehicles or adventure vehicles are featured in it. But yeah, I was pleasantly surprised by how enjoyable the products were, and of course effective as well to clean up our family speedboat. And man, that citrus all-purpose cleaner paired with that vinyl protectant, that thing looks brand new. All right, so do we want to give something away? And we want to, I think one of the first best questions, then we'll dive into the specific products.
Yeah, let's do it. I think we got one giveaway at the end of each specific product.
All right.
So
we're giving something away.
That'll get us to 6.
Okay. All right. Okay, so let's talk about wash and wax, just really to start, right?
Yeah.
We talked about the Adventure line. We love all the questions so far, but we definitely want to talk about the specifics of each product.
Yeah, so this one's a staple, wash and wax, great pH balanced, high sudsing car wash soap. It's going to be safe for all exterior surfaces, really no matter what you're washing. Great viscosity, so it's a thick viscosity, so that very concentrated, will disperse well in the bucket as long as you're focusing your water on it. Tons of suds and lubricity from this formula, compatible with foaming sprayer and foam cannon, as well as bucket dilution. So you can wash with it using your preferred method, and contains just enough carnauba protection to get you to your next wash. Not what we would recommend using as a standalone protection, but will help add some gloss and bolster any base protection that you have as well.
Yeah, I was always, we do a great job of these core washes really expanding their utility to be used with different tools. So. Cannon and foaming sprayer used them both in not only our development, but in kind of our finished good video production, and was extremely impressed that one of the vehicles you saw me washing was a 45-foot Class A motorhome
beast
that was about, I want to say it's probably 12 or 13 feet tall. So I was doing a lot of work up above my head. And when I was a teenager, I used to polish those things for money, charged by the foot, and climb around on ladders. I wasn't smart enough to have a wash mop stick back then, but fantastic soap for that.
Yeah, gotta have the wash mop stick for sure. And we've had a couple questions as to why didn't you guys put SiO2 or ceramic in the wash and wax? When you're washing such large vehicles, if you guys have used our ceramic wash and coat, it's the only downside of that product is if you do allow it to dry, it can leave spots behind. Obviously, product drying is a much higher risk on a really big vehicle, so wanting to stay out of any issues there, just go with traditional carnauba in this one. It's totally fine over the top of a ceramic. I wouldn't necessarily put this down and then put a ceramic over it without removing that carnauba first, but totally fine to use over the top of any base ceramics, and gives you a nice little added bit of gloss at every wash.
Yeah, and somebody had asked if these products were formulated to be better used in sunshine, and I think that's kind of what we captured in a lot of our video content and just testing was, hey, there's, we're lucky to have a 14-foot tall door here where we can back a trailer and wash it inside. That is not typical. That is not, I mean, if you are living on the road or taking an RV, to an RV campground or out, we know you're going to be dealing with heavy soiling and less than ideal washing tools and or conditions. That's really what we had in mind. So yes, sunlight, high heat, and why, a further justification why something reactive like, the formula that is our ceramic washing coat, which, yeah, in high heat, that's one you definitely want to avoid because of its reactivity and, the temperature coming off the surface, let alone the direct sunlight. So,
yeah, so really, I mean, not a whole lot more to talk about with that one, but it's really easy to use, very user-friendly, across the board, high sudsing, tons of lubricity. I was really impressed with the foam from it in a foam cannon as well. I did not expect it to be quite as good as we got it to there. So I think you guys that love washing with your foaming tools will be very happy with this one as well.
Yeah, and again, RK Barker is asking why the wash is Carnauba instead of SiO2. Really speaks to exactly what we were saying. Like we want safe exterior washing in an outdoor setting, and the reactivity of SiO2 kind of limits that more than Carnauba does. And you're washing big stuff where it's going to be a lot of time between your washing and your mechanical agitation versus your rinsing. I mean, this is still a big trailer compared to any vehicle you're going to encounter. So
small by trailer standards, but still much bigger than your average car.
Yeah,
or even large car. And I've not saying you can't use like ceramic washing coat on a trailer, but you just have to be much more careful, diligent about getting it rinsed off. I've done it on this a couple times, and I'm doing probably a third of each side at a time before I'm rinsing. So much more user-friendly process with the wash and wax there.
Yeah, Joey Kyler asks, have these been tested on any kind of mountain bike? I don't think mountain bike was part of the testing, but I think
dirt bikes, though.
Yeah, dirt bikes.
Very similar.
But if you're asking, I mean, a mountain bike might have some fairings, some kind of like mud flaps on it. But,
some of them have fenders.
A mountain bike with a powder coat finish, I think you're very much safe to use this on or use these products on it. Again, really targeting more of the most common materials in the three groupings: ATV, marine, and RV. So we don't have a bike line yet, but maybe at some point we will. But I would assure you that you could use these on a mountain bike safely.
I would say my favorite product for bicycles is the mist and wipe. I use that on our bikes all the time. Get the kids using it. It's a great way to keep them clean and protected, especially if you have kids that leave their bikes outside every once in a while like mine do.
Yeah, and Chandler Levine asked, if you have he has a daily commuter that's also used for hardcore off-roading, would it last longer than standard Griot's line on respective trims? I think, again, you're talking about a traditional vehicle whose products we have cornered and make very excellent products for. I think you're absolutely fine utilizing those materials without needing to buy a separate line. That I would think we have products that work exceptionally well on a heavy use off-roader vehicle, which has a color clear coat and most likely steel or aluminum substrate. Like, we got that covered. These are really designed for, again, the fiberglass, gel coats, the materials that are specific to it. But of course, it could be used on a vehicle, but I would say not necessary to buy separately just for the purpose of cleaning a automobile that is used in off-roading.
Yeah, and I think, like we were talking about when we were speaking to the differences in chemistry, to the slightly less reactivity, specifically in like the protective products of the Adventure line that makes them more user-friendly, may slightly reduce durability, but durability is also very dependent on the use of the vehicle. So you mentioned, Chandler mentioned that he's using it as a daily driver, so he's using it a lot. So on that scenario, I think you're going to tend to get a little more durability out of the non-Adventure Line products because on a boat or a trailer, they're not being used daily. So, what would last a year on a daily driven vehicle is probably going to last a year and a half, maybe even 2 years on a vehicle that's only used for a portion of the year, potentially stored under a cover. That's something that I've seen with my trailer. The same products that, if I'm used to say 8 to 12 months of durability on my car, I'll get 25 to 50% more than that on the trailer because I'm not washing it as much. I'm not taking it out, every day like I am my daily driven vehicles. So
yeah, and I think one of the core elements to the protective products that we use, their reactivity is lower, their use is lower, so it's the kind of abrasion, but at the core of these large format, vehicles, you're seeing UV damage and oxidation. Like I rarely see, to your point, my neighbors who have their trailers parked in their driveway, through the winter, they're not washing them every week. They wash them after they come back from the road trip.
Yep.
So their protection would arguably last quite a bit longer, so long as there is a base UV protective element, which is the case with our ceramic infused products and what makes these three fantastic products that are superior base coats and or interim use than a standard carnauba-based protection or different type of protection. So these are going to be an upgrade relative to what is on the market in this space in particular. And you should get great durability just because of how you tend to use these products.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that was a great question. It's time for our first winner, but I was going to pick Chandler Levine as our winner. So congrats, Chandler Levine. Go ahead and send us an email to winners@griotsgarage.com, and we will get you your kit of Adventure Line products.
All right. Okay.
solid one. Let's see, where was that question? Brian Susi, sorry if I butchered your last name. He said, I read that carnauba wax isn't good for vinyls. So that would be talking to like traditionally applied carnauba wax. The carnauba wax additive that's in wash and wax is not going to have any problem on vinyl, whether it be matte, satin, gloss. If you were to apply like a traditional hand applied carnauba wax, that will tend to dry white on a black vinyl. So
and or potentially damage it. Most paste waxes are cut with some kind of petroleum distillate.
Solvents.
It's the dried, caked on material and or the potential degradation what that pure carnauba wax is cut with in its paste form in order to soften it up and make it applicable, that would be damaging to vinyls. But no, I mean, vinyls, graphics, they're all over yours, and it's definitely something that's extremely common, just in the RV market, right? This huge medium, how do we spice it up? Well, let's put like some tribal patterns on it, and they're all vinyl.
Well, it saves costs. They don't have to, they can gel coat the whole thing one color and then slap some vinyl on it to make it look interesting.
Yeah, so we definitely had a lot of experience, including with, when we're talking about the abrasive and all-in-one and Restore and Seal, which we will talk about in depth, very shortly here. Vinyl was a big part of the testing. Yeah,
it's something that we made sure to test. Any of these that are intended for, the exterior painted or gel-coated panels or vinyl panels, we've made sure to test that those are all compatible with those surfaces.
Yeah, all right, so we're getting a couple questions on the vinyl. Let's move on to mist and wipe, because we definitely will cover vinyl in almost every one of our protective and the restorative, Restore and Seal all-in-one kind of abrasive concept as well. All right, so mist and wipe. Ideally or most commonly, I'd say this is described as a detailer, right? But really just that's a space where we've always had excellent products, but we're adapting again to larger form, higher heat applications, higher heat being exterior use, fair weather, but ceramic infused, high lubrication, to wipe up bugs, short term as you're road tripping, just wipe down when parked. You can see some of the footage that we created, like you went up a dusty trail to do some of our photography, wanted to wipe down the trailer. This is what you bring out.
Yeah, it's a great product for spot cleanups, really, inside or out, specifically on the outside. My favorite thing about this product too is that you can literally protect everything on the exterior of a trailer with it. So it's good on glass, clear plastics, any type of cover or seal or cap that you have on the outside that you wouldn't normally put like a wax or a sealant or a coating on. You can literally spray it on virtually everything. So it's a great product to help get on a new vehicle to preserve that stuff, or if you have new seals on a used RV or trailer, or you just put new materials in your boat, or had a surface refinished, going to be a great way to really help preserve some of those higher cost and higher risk for damage surfaces. A lot of the ancillary parts I know on trailers end up getting damaged or breaking first, and often are more expensive than you would think to replace, a random cap or gasket or seal. So being able to get that protection on everything is pretty invaluable.
Yeah, and we are a little out of order in terms of this kind of being your supplement. It definitely can offer standalone protection, but it is meant to be used anytime you are experiencing light soiling, whether that be pollen, dust, bird droppings, immediate bug wipe off, which, really, as you're counting miles driving an RV across, interstates and in the peak of summer when the bugs are all out, if they're caked on there, you got a different product for that.
Yeah.
If you can wipe and attack them early, the Mist and Shine is your product. It also, just like any other detailer that we would categorically state, slickness, lubrication, that light cleaning duty, it also acts as a lubrication for decontamination, which is another way that you could probably remove bugs before they become extremely stubborn and more aggressive tactics are required. So.
Yep.
Really,
exactly
again, a lot of this will seem very familiar to anybody who's a fan or current user of our products. The goal is, again, to develop specific for the materials they're going to be encountered on. So really a lot of our performance and durability testing is on the substrates these are designed and or to be used on and or are most common in these three types of vehicles. And so that really, from a detailer perspective, it meets all of the standards of definition from what we, categorize that as in all of Griot's garage products.
Yep. Yeah, and categorically, these are all safe on gel coat.
Yes.
Getting that question a lot.
Gel coat,
so cover that.
It's the material you encounter the most because it's the most common material on some of the largest, vehicles in this category, which are RVs, which are not only going to be long, but they're going to be tall, and then boats. So much. A glass body boat, fiberglass, is really primarily going to be gel coat. You rarely find that people are putting color or color clear on top of that gel coat. Mm-hmm. They're simply using colored or dyed gel coats, and that's what I know and have experienced in most of the ski boats, the freshwater boats that I used to detail and still do detail. But yeah, it's gel coat was probably the most common material we were encountering when we were developing these exterior protection products.
Yeah, and yes, CJ, all of these are great for use on side-by-side or ATV. We, under the Adventure line, you see the ATV symbol or icon there. Underneath that, ATV is what we think of as kind of the umbrella that covers UTVs or side-by-sides, dirt bikes, four-wheelers or quads, the whole gamut of off-road toys under that all-terrain vehicle name.
Yeah, and most of those, they're not going to have as thick of maybe body panels that are, a lot of them will be, plastic molded, but they'll be dyed.
Plastic, yeah.
And then, you will have fiberglass elements or gel coat elements as well. So yes, they can be used on that. It was, we got, our store manager guy has a healthy array of four-wheeled toys. He likes to go into the dunes and also destroy his own backyard with these things. So
pretty sweet little track.
we've done specific instruction on those materials before. So we're pretty familiar with them. Again, these are designed specifically with those in mind. LT1 Bill asked, does this contain any wax or anti-static ingredients? The wax or protective element is SiO2, right, in the mist and shine. So it is not carnauba based, it is ceramic based. So you're gonna get superior durability to a carnauba based detailer if that detailer is offering any protection. So again, we're thinking about UV protection and light or high heat sensitivity primarily on these vehicles where they're large, they catch a lot of sun, they're exposed to UV. We want SiO2 for that job, not carnauba.
Yep. Yeah, they leave an incredibly slick surface, like Nick was saying. That's one of my favorite parts, and one of our big intentions of Mist and Wipe and Spray Wax was to help make these big and often more intricate vehicles easier to clean, and hopefully make it so you don't have to clean them as often. So the self-cleaning properties of Mist and Wipe and Spray Wax are phenomenal. I know I've been super impressed with what I'll pick up on my trailer after a long weekend camping trip. 3 to 5 hours of driving plus a few days in a campground, pulling it back home. Usually it's going to end up pretty dirty, but if you've got a good coat of Mist and Wipe or Spray Wax on there, it's going to definitely help prevent bugs from getting super caked on and stuck, prevent dirt from building up, prevent road grime from sticking and being difficult to remove. So it really helps make life easier when you're working a big vehicle.
Yeah, I'm gonna cut the line on this one and anoint a winner right away. LT1 Bill is asking a lot of very specific questions on Mist and Wipe, and they're very topical. So LT1 Bill, you're gonna win a family of the Adventure Line products. Email winners@griotsgarage.com to claim your prize. And great questions. It's safe on decals or stickers? Yes. We're going to cover that probably every time we talk about one of these products throughout the rest of this time with you all. Vinyl and stickers, Mist and Shine, totally fine for that.
Yep.
And then the wildest thing you've ever cleaned off a car or truck over the years. I mean, look, you got a deep Rolodex of bad situations. We both detailed professionally. We both have young kids. So in my mind, the detail job that still haunts me is the Cheerio van. You can understand why. Its name is really appropriate, but minivans and all their crevices. And then the craziest thing was when I was a teenager working in the store and some guy came in where somebody had thrown a bucket of acrylic paint. It was not the same color as his vehicle, and it had dried on the hood.
Oh, I thought you were going to say they threw it on the inside.
No, it was on the hood, and it had bonded, it had dried. So, it could not be peeled away. So having to help him through it. And, I remember going out and consulting him, not consoling him, I wasn't counseling him. He knew that he had done something to deserve it. That was very clear. But not really being able to offer him a lot of help outside of, dude, just, don't do things like whatever you did to deserve this, man.
Yeah, that's bad. I have a couple funny stories. One of them was a long time ago, but it definitely sticks out as one of the most random things I've had to clean out of a car. Me and some buddies of mine in high school got into kind of a prank war with some girls at our school, and we had TP'd this girl's house a weekend ago, pretty bad. And she had tons of trees in her front yard, and we covered them all. And apparently her dad got in on the retribution, and I was going to the movies with some friends the following weekend, was driving a 2000s Land Rover Discovery at the time, left it in my driveway at my house, and have always been good about locking my vehicles, but apparently that night I did not lock it. Came home from the movies at 11 or 12, and my Land Rover was filled literally to the ceiling with packing peanuts. I think I spent 4 or 5 hours that night shop vacuuming packing peanuts out of my truck. That was harmless. I didn't have to deal with any nasty odors or anything after that, but it was definitely took a long time. And then My daughter, bless her heart, disobeyed a very firm rule at our house of not bringing slime into any of the vehicles. And a container of slime got left like hanging out of a cup holder and dripped down the side of the car seat, between the seats, onto the floor, into the carpet, into the like latch mechanism where the seat locks into the floor. Just absolute nightmare. I don't know how much time I spent picking it out of there, but I still don't have it all cleaned up yet.
Yeah. Well, you're the slime distributor for my children, so I'll try and avoid that same
Payback,
fate.
yeah.
But yeah, we've seen a lot of stuff for sure. Yeah, dead animals definitely have found some birds in some crevices, so that's unfortunate for those birds. But and just another specific product question: Brad Hart, DDS, taking care of teeth. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Yep.
Wash and wax does not have UV protection. I mean, you're going to get you're really not going to get UV protection from, Carnauba. But if your base coat, as we'll talk about, our spray wax here, is UV protectant, that wash and wax is pH neutral, so it will not diminish your base coat, which is where you're seeking your UV protection from.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I think that takes us into our next product, which Hefe 281 asked, what do you recommend for RV roof protection in the Adventure line? RV spray wax is definitely the one you're going to want to protect the roof, as it's the most durable of the protection offered in the Adventure line. It's also very easy to apply. So when you're doing a big roof, especially with all the equipment you have up there, satellites, solar panels, plumbing, roof racks, whatever it might be, it's easy to get in around all that stuff. The best way to do it is clean the roof prior with multi-purpose citrus, and then rinse it, dry it, and then come in with your spray wax and towel apply it. That's going to give you the best durability out of it. You'll get, I would say, close to a year, likely more, depending on how much you're using the vehicle. And you can also use it as a rinse aid, which is another very easy way to apply it to a roof. But you want to keep in mind you're not going to get near as much durability out of it when you apply it as a rinse aid. But I've done that a couple times on my trailer. When I first got it, I hand towel applied it to get a good durable protection down. And then every time I've cleaned the roof since, I've just hit it with it as a rinse aid afterwards, and that seems to be keeping it nice and repellent up there.
Yeah, if you're familiar with our ceramic line of products in our automotive line, all of the ceramic protection and water repellency is we're bringing that here.
Yeah,
Again, we're toning down the reactivity slightly, again, because of just general use and exposure, really the core being UV protection, and large surface application so that you can chase it, dry it up, wipe it away before it dries and creates highs and lows or streaks, which would not be very pleasant. But the Adventure Line Spray Wax, which is the product we are talking about now, again, we're going to really talk about that as your base protection for these larger vehicles, or larger, I don't know, what are we, I guess, adventure vehicles? That we'll call them categorically. I don't know if I'd consider a boat a vehicle, right? Maybe?
Yeah, I think by definition,
okay,
it would count.
Yeah, I'll let the chat clear it up, and or correct me or shame me, whatever. But I mean, it really, a little goes a long way with it. As you mentioned, the drying aid application is a really nice way to kind of bolster your protection post-wash.
Yep.
Drying a vehicle that's this large is, undoubtedly a challenge. A good base protection will leave less water on the paint. Rinsing or drying aid concept that the spray wax or mist and shine can be utilized as. Spray wax going to be more substantial protection for sure. Are going to help drive water off of these larger form vehicles and make your drying that much easier.
Yeah, roofs are tricky too, because I know on mine it has a full PVC roof and it's textured so that you've got a little bit of grip when you're walking around up there, which is nice for those moments that you're walking around up there, but for every other time that texture is just essentially grabbing onto all the pollen and dirt and dust that settles up there and making it harder to remove. So getting that good protective layer down really, really helps stuff from taking hold.
It catches everything.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like the texture that we have here on our floor. You know, we really had to fine tune that where it actually helps some slip prevention, but isn't as soiled as our friends down at Griot's Motors who put a little too much sand or abrasive in there.
Make it impossible to clean.
But yes, we've got really, we'll cover the basics too. And this is why I think, I mean, all these very specific questions are even more rationale. They're bolstering the use case for why we develop specific products for these types of vehicles. Everybody has these specific materials. Everybody wants to know, does it work on the situations I'm going to uniquely encounter with my favorite thing, my RV, my boat, my ATV? This is why these products exist, because we understood that those questions under the lens of like our automotive focus aren't necessarily answered on the label or the instructions. Could we make them work? Yeah, with a lot of explaining versus, hey, we know we tested these specifically for these types of applications. So spray wax, can it be used on gel coat? Yes. Can it be used on ATVs and pigmented plastic? Yes. Is it safe for vinyl and decals? Yes. I mean, these are the questions we answered in developing these products. And look, that's not to say don't ask the question, but think about it from our side. We're getting these questions asked so many times by our massive customer base. We knew we needed to answer those questions with products that made it easier for that customer to buy confidently, knowing that they would be safe and effective for the materials that they have on their prized possession.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we've had a couple of questions about the roof-specific conversation. Jay Mills asked, is that process safe for all RV roof types? I would say yes for all newer RVs. You know, most everything now has a PVC roof. Not all RV roofs are walkable. I know some of the older ones specifically, you may not be able to walk on the entire roof, and some of them aren't fully sealed with a single sheet of PVC. So just make sure. If your RV is older, I would exercise some caution around some of the seals and things like that up there, especially if stuff's breaking down already. And then make sure your roof is walkable so that you can safely get up there. Not all of them are, so it's important to keep in mind.
Yeah, Tom Lingill asked a really good question too, and it kind of speaks to the limitation of developing these specific products. I assume you use the same microfiber and PFM towels for these products. Yeah, I mean, our XL PFM drying towel, it can dry more than one very large format vehicle in like a mega truck or a Suburban. It's still got capacity left after doing that. There is no product or towel out there that is better to start with to dry a huge RV or boat off with. Yeah. And so we don't necessarily need to develop an RV or ATV or marine specific dry towel. Likewise, the pads and the things that we know can translate directly over and we already have in our automotive line. That's just icing on the cake for us. We've got the tools to deliver these chemicals. Or the accessories to complement them, but it's the chemicals themselves that people generally have the highest level of concern with. So no, we will not be launching necessarily a RV microfiber line because our microfibers are some of the best on the market and work great for drying these same surfaces.
Yeah, they are all safe for solar panels as well. I've seen that one a couple times. Well, the mist and wipe and spray wax are safe for protecting solar panels. I've used them both on mine. They work great.
Yeah, and I'd say the differentiator is base protection on a clean solar panel. You're doing spray wax. Lightly dusting and cleaning a spray panel or a solar panel. Mist and wipe. Particularly if you've already got a base coat, but absolutely a great way to protect those. Although it's kind of counterintuitive, right? Add UV protection to the thing that sucks up UV light to power systems, but at the same time, those are
the surface.
Yeah, I mean they are prone to get dirty. So how do you keep them cleaner longer? That's definitely a great way to go. DRK Dragon has been pretty active, and that was his question. So I think that in the spirit of moving to the next product and giving something away. DRK Dragon 525. I guess that's Dark Dragon, right?
I think so.
Yeah, you can confirm or
One
not
could
if it's
assume.
Dark Dragon, but we'll safely say that's what it is, unless it's some really nefarious or dirty thing. But you have won our full family of Adventureline products. So email winners@griotsgarage.com. Thank you for all your awesome questions. You definitely, I mean, that solar panel one, I don't think we had in our outline as like one of the specific asks, but it's definitely something that when you're up on the roof protecting stuff, hey, why not?
Yeah, and one we've had asked a few times outside this live, so I'm surprised we didn't put that one in our outline.
Greg R has another just very specific question, which is great, guys. This is why we do this. Can you dry an RV with a leaf blower? Yeah, why not?
Absolutely.
I mean, that's definitely something that is pretty common. Again, I think the leaf blower is going to be even more effective with a well-protected vehicle and some surface slickness that's just going to fast-moving air is going to blow that water off, make your drying job that much easier if you do even have to put a towel to it.
Yeah, and on a trailer and RV, I mean, it's mostly flat surfaces, so if you're doing top down, you're going to have that thing dry nice and quick.
Yeah. We've had a couple questions. DIY with Kane, I think he was asking about, we're going to have to keep him in mind because he's been asking some really good ones, but this is one that will come up. We had an Airstream question, an aluminum question. What Adventureline product is going to provide the longest protection, water repellency on an aluminum RV roof? Again, if it's a curved RV roof, you're probably not spending a lot of time standing up there. If it's a flat aluminum roof, just be sure it is walkable. But I would say spray wax is definitely your best base case protection. We had the joy of trying to help my sister polish her Airstream many years ago. Some modern aluminum trailers will actually have a clear coat on them as well because raw aluminum oxidizes pretty quickly, especially in high UV environments, which does require some pretty heavy lifting in terms of metal polishing.
Yeah.
So I can't confirm that modern Airstreams are clear coated, but that might also that's going to be a perfect use case for the spray wax.
Yeah, I don't know which year they switched to that, but I do know that all of the ones being produced today.
Yeah, my sister's clearly wasn't.
Yeah, I want to say it was like mid to late 2000s, so like around 05 to 010 or 2010.
Airstreams are totally in vogue.
They're cool.
Yeah,
they're very cool. They're also not cheap.
In fact, I've seen like on Bring a Trailer, I've watched some of the like super luxurious like 50s, travel trailers that are being restored. I mean, they must weigh 1 million pounds, but it's like, oh man, just beautiful mid-century designs with all these like, it's almost like marine wood finishes within them and totally functionally obsolete, but still really cool.
Well, and even some of the new ones that you can buy, that you can order from Airstream are pretty insane. They've definitely stepped it up.
Okay, so moving on.
I was just going to remind y'all, we've given 3 things away already. We have 3 more to give away by the end of this, so keep firing away your questions. Make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell, and like this, and we will keep doing giveaways like this.
Yeah, and just another reminder too, we do have our 20% off liquid sale going on. If you join late, that is going on until June 24th. You can use the code SMLiquid for 20% off all of our liquid car care at griotsgarage.com, which will include these new Adventureline liquids if one of these is speaking your language. But yeah, we've given away three full family kits. So we got more chemicals to talk about too. So let's keep moving.
Yeah, and if you aren't already, make sure you subscribe, give us a thumbs up, hit the notification bell.
Yeah, we can't give away stuff for free without you guys telling us we're doing a good job, okay?
It helps tremendously.
Yeah.
Supports us for doing more of this stuff, so please keep it up. Let's see where.
Yeah, all right. So let's talk about Adventureline Restore and Seal. So again, a lot of these concepts, they translate and or are familiar if you've used our products in the automotive space. We've taken a lot of pains to kind of put definitions around the categorical use of a lot of our products, but this would be considered an all-in-one, right? Yep. Mild abrasive, paired with a protection package, in this case, SiO2 based, which is going to be great for UV inhibition, but primarily on a lot of the materials that are going to be featured in marine, RV, and ATV applications, you're going to see oxidation.
Yep,
right?
like what you're just removing there on the boat.
Yeah, some pretty gnarly oxidation on that, highly pigmented, dark, fiber or gel coat material on the back of that Mastercraft.
Right above the swim step.
That was, below the boat cover and above the swim step, just a hot spot for oxidation. And then anybody who has ever had a boat with, white gel coat that chalks up and looks absolutely terrible. One, brand new boat, don't let it get that way.
Yep.
Put a nice UV inhibiting protection layer in spray wax on that. Keep it nice. To get it back to there, you're going to need an abrasive. When you compare that abrasive with a protection step, you're doing a lot of work in a quick amount of time. And gel coats typically, are pretty easy to heat up and work. This is going to be kind of your best approach to do a large surface in as fast a time as possible. For severe oxidation that might require more substantial correction, you might have to do an additional step, but largely, in all the time I detailed RVs and boats, I was getting it done with all-in-one products.
Yep.
And a random orbital.
Yeah, unless you're up against something really nasty. I mean, I know I don't like going over these.
Yeah, you want to do it twice?
More than once.
Want to do it with multiple steps? No. I mean, we're talking like square footage, right?
Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah.
Above your head with a 5-pound tool that you're stretching out on a ladder.
Up and down off a work platform or a ladder. Yeah, I mean, it's.
Let's get you something efficient and effective, and Restore and Seal is exactly that.
Yeah.
So leaving behind SiO2 protection, that is you can layer with the spray wax on top of that. So really lay down a good base coat and chase and remedy some of those. I see a lot of like transfer or scuffing, right? You're doing like heavy unloading. You knock against the side. On our boat, we have PVC guides on the boat lift.
Yep.
That PVC transfers. It doesn't wipe off with like simple, toweling. So I need to introduce an abrasive for that. That's where Restore and Seal comes into play. Hopefully, you don't have to use Restore and Seal constantly, but for that restorative step, it's going to be your go-to. And again, on something this big, you want to do that by hand, probably best to use it by random orbital.
Yeah.
That being said, it can be used by hand as well. Simply going to be way more effective by orbital almost all the time.
Yeah, well, this is one of those scenarios where I really urge you guys, if you're tempted to do it by hand, spend the money on an orbital. You will not regret it. If you have a toy like this, you've probably got a couple $100 laying around that you can throw at an orbital. And yeah, I mean, doing a vehicle this big by hand is not fun.
Yeah, no, I'm like anticipating,
A lot of
like,
time.
if you guys know who my dad is, he's got screws loose, okay?
Yeah.
But he's the kind of guy that will go to an RV park and his wife will go out and do whatever she wants to do.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
And guess what he's got?
Got
Time.
all the time. Yeah.
Right? So he's going to be that weirdo up on a ladder, running an orbital in the RV park. Or, you've used it heavily over the season. I mean, he just completed a road trip, literally living this concept of an adventure. He took my 91-year-old grandpa from here in Tacoma, Washington, up to just north of Fairbanks, Alaska, the Arctic Circle. It was like 3,000 miles. They went through every national park in British Columbia,
so
Denali. They went everywhere together. My grandpa's 91. Did I say that?
Yeah.
The dude is still alive.
It's
He
amazing.
living at 91. He wants to go do
Out
this
on
stuff.
an adventure like that.
So in his free time, he's living this life and going and putting this stuff to use. But yeah, after that road trip, you may not have heavy oxidation with the age of the vehicle he's on, but you might have those black streaks
some
that
scuffs
and scuffs or just scars of war. A couple other scenarios like I mentioned, that PVC transfer, that bumper scuffing. As you've got little bumpers that rub up and down on the boat. Algae lines, if your boat is not dry docked, right? You've got an algae bloom and you kind of see this film.
Yep.
That'd be, or just a water line color difference. That's a great way to level it out with Restore and Seal.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think we had a question on, even with the protection that's in it, will it tackle mild oxidation or mild to severe? And then what do you recommend layering? Did you already answer that one?
I
You
did.
talk about
I talked about layering being a
Okay.
potential
Yeah.
after application.
Yeah, I was just going to say I've been quite impressed with the capability of it. I mean, we would tend to say that it won't remove severe oxidation, but I think it's one of those products. Do a test section, and you may be surprised. Typically gel coat is on the softer side, so what looks severe might come out easier than expected. I know that spot on the back of the Mastercraft, when I was looking at it before you start working on it, I wasn't super confident that was going to come all the way out.
Yeah.
It came out
And
very
again,
easily.
pad recommendation, I mean, orange is middle of the road. You start getting into a more aggressive pad like microfiber. Will that help, remove the oxidation faster? Yeah, just manage the temperature. Check your pad, work in smaller areas, but orange is always a great place to start. Again, we have a really good question, and I think this guy has to win. Jay Mills says, in a nutshell, what makes gel coat different than clear coat or single stage paint? Is the polishing process the same if lightly oxidized? As I mentioned, gel coat tends to be quite workable.
Yeah.
And part of it is that a lot of the pigment is part of the material, right? It is impregnated, it is dyed, so it is not applied on top of it, right? So whereas clear coat or dual layer systems that are common on most automotive paints, where you've got a color coat, or you've got steel, primer, color coat, clear, you are actually down at what the equivalent would be, that base layer that also is pigmented. So there's just a lot more access to remedying the maladies because the surface is the lowest surface, right? It is the structural material. It also tends to warm up more. So you want to be a little more careful. Like I remember one of the experiences I had, we were going to my brother's wedding. It was at this nice harbor. There was a 90-foot yacht for sale for $3 million. And my dad and I we weren't getting married. We didn't have a lot to do. We walked onto this. They were having an open house.
Nice.
The entirety of this boat was white. And somebody had it detailed with a rotary, and it was hologrammed the entire way down. The rotary is a fast way to polish a boat that big.
Yeah.
It's also higher heat. So what that means for you is, maybe not the best time in high heat, direct sunlight to be busting out an orbital polisher, which will create a little bit of temperature on its own. But because it's so sensitive to temperature, it makes it actually easier to polish, right? Just by introducing a little bit of heat, it becomes a little bit more workable. Now, with a random orbital, are you going to hologram your whole thing? Probably not. But that direct drive clearly did it.
Yeah.
So,
Gnarly.
so the differences between polishing it, it's going to be easier to work. That temperature sensitivity actually, contributes to that ease of polishing and oxidation removal. It also, on the flip side, makes it easier for that oxidation to return, a brand new boat that has no protection is going to oxidize over a summer versus a automotive color clear system that may not oxidize for 10 years in an average UV condition or environment. Hopefully that answered your question. Really long-winded, but you are clearly the winner of Restore and Seal. So you're going to get the whole family.
Yeah,
that was a great question.
Great question. Great question.
Anything I missed?
No, I was just going to say, for the most part, you treat it the same.
Yeah.
The approaches are the same. It's just like Nick said, the way that it responds is going to be a little different.
Yeah, which is to your benefit,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because on a huge surface, you want something that's going to be a little easier. And you aren't going to have this like wide range of variability in terms of hardnesses and softnesses that you do in different paint systems on automotive vehicles.
Yeah, I'd say the only thing that I've run into more on gel coat versus clear is like sticky wipe off when you're removing the product residue. But that really, the only occasions I can think of that I've experienced that were like severely oxidized surfaces.
Yeah.
Which is not something hopefully you're going to be up against often.
Well, on those severely oxidized surfaces, you've essentially got this exfoliating layer.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And so all the pores are dead and it's raised up and they're actually sucking the material back in. So you've got a little bit more work to cut that off.
Yeah.
But ideally, you're catching that way early.
Yeah, and the user friendliness that we focused on in Restore and Seal, I think is, you guys are going to love it. It's a very easy product to use, especially on a big surface. You do want to wipe it off panel by panel, so don't go leaving it on a whole side of the RV or trailer or boat and then wipe it off. You want to remove it panel by panel, but the wipe off stays really easy. And along with the other products that we've talked about, it is also safe on vinyl. The only caveat there is you don't want to use it on matte or satin vinyl or paint, because it will add gloss to that surface because of the abrasive.
Yeah, this is a really good question. It's pretty specific. I don't know if I'm in frame. But vinyl graphics are one thing, right? They're going to have their own kind of layering to the graphic. And again, the abrasive is not really going to affect those. But one thing that I saw, somebody was asking about stainless trim.
Yeah.
Right? And Restore and Seal's potential effect on it. Just like any automotive polishing process, you're not going to want to run an orbital over trim pieces. That includes any porous, flexible rubber trim.
That's what I was just going to say.
And
Same
or
with
caulk.
all the cargo areas and window frames are black powder or satin black powder coating.
There's sharp edges,
Yeah.
right? And if you treat them early, they can be restored. If you're going to oxidize, or if they're oxidized and you want to restore them, I'd definitely try it by hand first. You'd probably be impressed by how quickly you'll be able to remedy those. But if you're running an orbital over things like this, you're just going to cut up your pad, and you run the risk of staining that soft, pliable rubber trim, which is very, very different in terms of its ability to suck that product up versus a vinyl graphic. So
yeah, well, and on the window frames too, on the other side, I got lazy and didn't tape off the window frame when I was doing some polishing around it, and did bump into the frame with the pad, and it created a little glossy spot.
Yeah, and if you're detailing a boat, you've got cleats, you might have rivets where your boat cover connects to. So those really tight spaces, you either trade down with a smaller form orbital to get in between those, like snap rivets. Again, it's the same concept. Prep with some tape, try and avoid running your tool or backing plate to avoid marring. But in terms of using Restore and Seal on stainless trim, I'd still recommend a hand application and not running a buffer over those.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, great question.
Yeah, awesome. And durability is going to be close to spray wax, not quite as durable as spray wax, but I'd say you're going to get 75 to 80% of the durability of spray wax. So if you're getting 12 months out of spray wax, you're going to get closer to 9 out of Restore and Seal.
Yeah. Okay, we got 2 more products to cover. So our Adventure Line vinyl and rubber protectant. And again, that was Ben Morey. Ben Morey, you know what? Ben's got to win something. That was a fantastic color. So we're going to give away 7 kits. I don't care, bean counters.
Hey, you're the boss.
Yeah. Ben, email winners@griotsgarage.com. Thank you for, it's a really important question.
Yeah, very good one.
All right, so vinyl and rubber protectant. Again, really, we had a lot of questions about the different vinyls, awnings, storage boxes, seating surfaces. So we're going to cover a lot of those with this one. But you want to cover the features and benefits of this formula?
Yeah, real quick. LT1 Bill asked another good question about recommended prep for Restore and Seal before applying, which I don't think we talked about much.
We didn't.
So just like a standard all-in-one or a polish process, you're going to want to clean the surface, wash it, of course, or waterless wash, rinseless, detail spray, get all the residual dirt off, decontaminate it. Unless it's brand new and you've checked it and are positive that it's not contaminated, decontaminate it. You can use a panel wipe like Surface Prep Cleanser, not completely necessary, but will help. And then go ahead and throw it down on the surface and apply section by section, wiping off after each.
Yeah. And if you're doing a
prep.
big RV, you got your work cut out for you, you're going to
Yeah.
get some exercise. Like I mentioned, I was generally using all-in-one products, machine polishes, and my buddy and I would charge by the foot.
Yep.
Knowing that 1 foot would probably be 8 to 10 feet tall.
Yep.
That was a damn
Yeah.
good deal.
1 linear foot is 8 to 10 square feet.
Yeah. Okay, so VNR, vinyl rubber protecting. So basically, a lot of vinyl and rubber materials on all of these types of vehicles, right? We're talking about large seating surfaces that are, in boats and ATVs, going to be exposed directly to sunlight, weather, outside elements that a car's interior aren't typically exposed to. And then you have your gaskets, your seals, your storage components,
Yep.
things that are prone to oxidation, might be black, right, and catch a lot of sunlight.
Well, it can
So
dry out and crack or all that sort of fun stuff.
there's a ton of utility for this product amongst these 3 vehicle types. Really, again, still SiO2 protection package, UV resilience or UV protection being one of the core benefits. As is kind of our standard, it's going to be an enhanced but not extremely glossy finish.
Yeah. You keep talking. I'm going to try to wrestle this piece off to
Okay.
show because it's a good before and after.
And in general, the one distinction for this, it's a protectant. It's not a cleaner. So cleaning those surfaces ahead of applying this protection is going to be best practices. We had a couple people ask, will it create a slickness? Like, is this great for seating surfaces, or will it cause me to slide off? It is absolutely, a silicone-based product might create some slickness or stickiness. In my experience, in developing and testing this product, slickness is not so much so that you're going to slide off the seat, right, or take something behind on the seat of your pants as you sit on it. We were detailing a bass boat with vinyl seats, cleaned those up, applied this. The biggest difference in terms of the tactile nature or touch and feel of that seat was cleaning, not the protection step.
Yeah. So this is a propane cover from the front of my trailer, and you can see this side is treated, this side is not. So even with that zoomed out view, you can see the color contrast in the more faded kind of grayed out plastic versus that deeper black. It also helped hide a lot of the scuffing that I was getting on this. So this is up by the battery boxes and the hitch system and whatnot, so it gets a little bit banged up. And the water repellency has been awesome, and it's totally dry to the touch. There's no residue or anything greasy coming off of it, and you can see, this is truly matte, and I would say this has maintained that. It might be slightly satin now, but it's definitely not glossy.
No, and the enthusiast gave us kind of the bounds, right?
Yeah.
Matte finish or shiny finish, say satin.
Yep.
In between,
Yep.
right? Enhanced, treated, but not obnoxious, without a doubt. Again, one of the biggest areas that I use this on is the seating surfaces in our ski boat. It's a white vinyl with a blue piping and a red kind of trim element. It's a really nice true red, but factory finish is kind of like a matte finish on that red, which is just due to the material and it not being a sticky vinyl, right?
Yeah.
It's something you're going to be sitting on wet, and it did not change the overall appearance such that, as I was treating one to the other. There's a drastic difference outside of richness, right?
Yep.
I mean, it looked like a true red. It looked enhanced, but it definitely didn't look like a big sticky mess. And we've gotten it wet. The water repellency is very impressive to your point, and that's like a marine grade vinyl surface.
Yeah, it really does a good job of getting rid of any splotchiness that's formed on some of these more matte surfaces too. Like, I don't know if you guys can see it on this one here, but the top has like a spottiness to it on the untreated side that you don't see at all on the treated side. And that spottiness doesn't clean off. It's, I think, essentially water spots and drips that have etched into the plastic. But the VNR protectant helps cover that nicely and restores the original fresh appearance to it.
Yeah. Enthusiast points out, I like a slightly slick feeling on my seat. Well, yeah, I think one of the biggest things, as we mentioned, the tactile nature of a OG, very clean seating surface. It's not supposed to be sticky, but as it gets soiled, it starts to grab and become contaminated. That was the experience with that bass boat seat, right? It was unclean, and it had become sticky just due to everything that was sitting on it. That cleaning process was what actually restored, the true tactile nature of the seat, and then we didn't necessarily add slickness or observe a difference in terms of could we slide off the seat easier or harder when adding the protectant. The biggest jump was soiled, dirty to clean.
Yeah. Now, let's see, did you hit Hefe 281, his question about cleaning ability?
No.
So it does not have any...
I spoke to it, I didn't address that specifically.
Intentional cleaning ability. If there's light dust, that sort of thing, or very light soiling, it will wipe that off nicely, but there's no intentional cleaners in there.
Yeah, I mean, in general, to get the durability and adhesion, you're going to want to clean first.
Yeah.
In particular, where those vinyls and rubbers are traditionally found, they're not going to live an easy life.
No, they're
right?
getting
They're going to have a ton of stuff in them. I mean, when we were doing both those boats, I mean, there's bird droppings, there's spider guts, there's environmental soiling, just dust. Yep. That is caked on there and needs to be cut off and cleaned. Like there's no way that I would try and skip that step and seal that crap in.
Yeah.
I think if the surface is relatively clean, no hesitation, I could apply it. But if I'm observing obvious soiling, I'm gonna want to see how good that seat or thing could look by cleaning it first before trying to just enhance over a dirty surface.
Yeah, well, and you might not really help degradation much by just covering, soiling, putting lipstick on a pig, so to speak, and making it look better when it's still dirty. Breaking that out is definitely best. Yeah, I was just speaking to if you're doing a dash, and you cleaned it a few days ago or a week ago, it's just some light dust. That scenario, you're going to be fine, but anything beyond that, definitely clean prior.
Yeah, and B2BD is asking a lot of questions, so I think he's the clear winner for this segment. So B2BD, email winners@griotsgarage.com, and you will get the full complement of the Griot's Garage Adventureline products. He had a couple really specific questions. Tested on rubberized undercoating or textured bed liner style coatings common on RV utility areas. Yes, and again, if you're walking on those, you're not going to observe a notable slickness. You're going to get enhancement. You're going to get a darkness, a restorative quality to that. If they're heavily soiled, we still do recommend cleaning ahead of that. Interior applications, again, we had some high-grade vinyls in that Class A motorhome.
Yep.
You've got interior vinyl surfaces in your interior benches and the dining areas that are the combo kind of beds applied to those. Again, we know what the lower bound of the protectant category is, and it's a silicone and solvent-rich, off-gassing, quick fix that is not what we ever strive for here at Griot's Garage. So this will create the appearance that you have cared for and enhance that surface, without really an obnoxious hangover or glare or the risk of extensive off-gassing onto your interior glass surfaces. Somebody also had a question about touch screens.
I think that was BTB as well. Right?
This is not a product I would apply to a touchscreen. If they're, most of those are kind of LCD or some, gel material. Unfortunately, if those are weather exposed, you're not really going to save them with a vinyl and rubber protectant. And in fact, you might get a very smeary, poor experience. But all of the
dash around it.
all the dash around it, 100% safe for that.
Yeah, BTBD also asked, does this formula penetrate into a porous surface, or is it more of a surface shield? On porous surfaces, it will absolutely penetrate. I mean, that's definitely what I'm seeing on that propane cover. That has that textured kind of porous finish to it, and you can tell that it is very well penetrated that surface because of how uniform it is. Usually those products that are just sitting on the top, you'll have some inconsistency because of how they're applied if they don't soak in or penetrate. And that one is very easy to get an even finish with. I mean, even on a less porous like vinyl, still very easy to get an even finish.
Yeah, the self-leveling is pretty nice for sure.
Yeah, well, that propane cover was kind of tricky because it's got like a split case down the middle, like a kind of like a spine running up and down it, and I was applying it with a bigger blue detail sponge, and I ended up just kind of soaking the sponge so I could basically like squeeze it into the corners, and then I just lightly, quickly went back and kind of wiped it all out, like spread it back where it was running, and it dried perfectly.
Yeah.
I didn't have to come back with a towel or anything.
Yeah, I found it to be pretty nice and workable. It spread really well, and again, you're talking larger surfaces, so a bench seat in a boat that's like 6 feet long and 2.5 feet wide. You do encounter those bench seats in vehicles, but the ability to do something that sizable, with a couple sprays, that was pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So this is a great question because for all this, right? It's a new product line. We started this off with the why. The why is all of the very specific questions you guys have provided us. But we did say this is the start, right? And the unique thing about these 6 chemicals is that we found, the most commonly shared materials are, what these products will chase, right? The fiberglass, the gel coats, the high volume of rubber and vinyl. And NET Tech asks, are any new products to restore the clear plexiglass windows on ATVs? Also very common to have plexiglass windows on marine applications. Not so common on RVs.
No.
And this is what
plexiglass skylight.
Yeah, and this is kind of how we started this, right? This is the start. These 6 products can be used on any of these 3 vehicle types. And from there, should the market tell us, hey, we've got something, we're going to start driving down into more specific applications for each of those unique vehicles, right?
Yep.
I mean, you start talking about the problems you experience with RVs. It doesn't stop with just these 6 products and the materials they address. Talk about ATVs. One thing I can say, again, speaking to the accessories we already sell, foam cannons, foaming sprayers, towels, you can take them right to these types of vehicles and use them successfully. Could we, engineer larger format tools for these bigger surface areas? Hey, maybe that's a good idea. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely more uses to develop under this family adventure line.
Absolutely.
That might be specific to marine applications, to ATV applications. Sorry, wheels and tires was the one that was making me stumble.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Because wheels and tires, we got wheels and tire cleaners pretty well
board,
covered.
yeah.
There's brakes, there's brake dust. You're going to be able to use all of our automotive wheel and tire cleaners on wheels and tires that are on those vehicles. Your boat might not have wheels and tires. Maybe you have an amphicar. Who knows?
Yeah.
But your boat trailer might have wheels and tires.
Yeah. But there are definitely a lot of opportunity for some of the specific issues One of those that we haven't addressed yet is black streaks, which we do have a product that works very well on.
And here we go, our last product.
Multi-surface,
Yeah.
multi-purpose citrus cleaner. Always get that one confused. But we're selling this one in a 35-ounce ready-to-use formula. It's diluted at 4:1, so that's ready to use out of the bottle. You do not have to dilute it further when you buy the 35-ounce. When you use up your 35-ounce, we're also selling the gallons size in pure concentrate. So this is not pre-diluted or ready to use like the 35 is. You would dilute this to refill your empty 35-ounce bottle after you've used up that RTU formula.
Yeah.
But you can see in the B-roll, you can use it on a plethora of surfaces for all sorts of different issues, from carpet stains to vinyl seats to siding. You
Roof.
see there, I'm doing it on the roof.
Cleaning, yeah. This is a fantastic cleaner. You saw a lot of the shots of both those bass boat seats, as I mentioned. Like the vast majority of the cleaning, the restoration happened with that product. Just made it extremely easy. Like the interior of that boat, again, it had been stuck on a lift. It had about a year's worth of, it was about a 3-month period where tried to get it off the lift, water level wasn't working, did not cover it, big mistake.
Yeah.
Came back and just a lot of organic material that cut away so quickly. I mean, you started seeing it just melt and you were just wiping it away with a towel. It was like mouth watering.
Yep.
But really fantastic for interior, exterior use. The tough jobs like the roof, black streaks on RVs. Really just a fantastic all-purpose cleaner. Yeah,
it's very versatile. I think we had a question earlier of will wash and wax remove black streaks? If they're fresh, yes, but if they've taken some hold to the surface, citrus cleaner is going to be your next best bet. And then if that doesn't do it, if they've fully etched the surface, then you're into restore and seal territory. But citrus cleaner, I mean, gosh, as far as the product that I've used the most from this line, this is
you can see the bottle level.
Yeah.
We didn't bring out new bottles. We've been putting this stuff to work. In fact, I walked in here on Father's Day to find one of our employees using the wash bay on his Class C Sprinter van camper, cleaning it up, and we scared the crap out of him because he was knee deep in the process. But just a fantastic, again, for the catch-all nature of these first 6 products, which will have the widest use that will specifically apply to all the conditions and materials that you as a boat, ATV, or RV owner are going to experience. That one is a catch-all for a lot of the nasty stuff that and variety of materials that you want to be cleaning and working.
Yes, it will remove mold off vinyl. I actually used it for that last week.
And on your
the
awnings.
underside of my awning.
Yeah,
I hadn't cleaned the underside of the awning yet and had to put it away wet a couple of times last year. Unfortunately, the spot that I parked the trailer on the side of my house isn't wide enough to let the awning out when we get home and park it. So it was stored wet for a while and did get some mold and mildew. And I had to practically wear, like full coveralls to not soak myself while I was doing it, but clean the entire underside of the awning with citrus cleaner and an Ergo Wave, and it did an awesome job.
I mean, the Ergo Wave might have a rebirth, quite frankly, with all the materials here. Not that it's ever gone anywhere, but or was going to go anywhere.
Wash mop stick attachment for the Ergo Wave.
And it is a great one. So, gosh, what you were talking about mold and vinyl and fabrics. Yes. You saw on that bass boat, we had a pretty heavy stain on what is that marine grade carpet, right?
Super short
very
nap.
short nap, and it luckily with a shorter nap, you don't have to go so deep into it. But that was a boar's hair brush and a pat away, and that thing lifted it right up. A lot of ski boats will have that same fabric. If you do have a carpet versus what they've kind of shifted towards with some recycled plastics and rubbers. So I mean, there's not a lot of limitation, and in particular with the materials that we've tested on that are very common in these 3 vehicle types. And it's a great all-around cleaner.
Yeah, and just to be clear, again, we had a few questions about the dilution ratio. When you purchase the 35 ounce, that's pre-diluted for you at 4:1. When you empty that and you buy the gallon to refill it, that is pure concentrate that has to be diluted when you add it to your 35 ounce bottle. There's 3 different dilutions that you can use with this formula. 4:1 is the strongest, most capable. 10:1 is a good middle of the road for light to moderate situations, and then 20:1 can be used for light duty cleaning, quick and easy wipe downs, light soiling, that sort of thing. So.
Yeah, and we've got a couple questions about the pH. This is going to be a more alkaline cleaner, quite high on the pH, not quite, well, alkaline's not going to melt your face, but it definitely is going to have a stripping element to it. So in terms of any protection that you might be removing, yes, there's a likelihood that it will diminish any surface protection on a material that it is used to clean. So if you're cleaning black streaks off of your trailer and you had a ceramic base coat, there's a chance, in particular some of our products have outlasted that type of application, but your surface protection will be diminished if not removed. So that would be a great chance to, hey, it's clean, mist and shine, or spray wax on top of that to re-protect that area. One of the most rewarding uses that I had for this in our testing and development was, that Class A motorhome had come off a 2,500 mile road trip. It got parked for the winter and was coming back out. The bugs had not been cleaned before storage, and brutal. Those things went very easily with the Ergo Wave. But
I saw that before.
When I rinsed, that surface was completely devoid of protection. Right, I had a strong, lingering sheet of water. At which point I proceeded to protect it. Now, what's the benefit of that protection? You're going to create a little bit of a barrier for those bugs to adhere to that surface the same way, but constant maintenance, routine maintenance is easy maintenance versus what was a nasty bug job. There's nothing worse than like smelling dead bugs on a hot day, so just get rid of those.
Yeah.
As you already killed them by driving through their neighborhood, okay? Just clean them up.
Yeah, don't leave them on.
Let them rest in peace.
Well, a lot of times it sounds like you guys lucked out, and I know that surface was in good shape before it got the bugs on it. But a lot of times, if you leave bugs on too long, they'll etch.
Yeah.
You'll get etchings from the
bug
guts.
Quite frankly, we didn't put an inspection light on it, but it was a silver, color. So that silver, just those lighter colors are going to be a little bit more forgiving for those etchings. But yeah, like I said, do it often. In particular, if you're doing like an RV trip where you're going campground to campground, and the kids and wife are asleep, you're driving at night, and you hear that dun 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 dun. Wipe them off in the morning. Make it easier on yourself.
Yep, absolutely. I think we got one more giveaway.
Flack. Like June bugs. It's like, geez, you're under assault, man.
Yeah. I haven't seen him in a couple minutes, but Hefe 281, I think, or El Hefe 281. Hefe 281, there
we go. Hefe.
Email us at winners@griotsgarage.com, and we'll get a product set sent out to you. You were asking some great questions, and I think I saw one of your comments said you just picked up a new RV as well. So
fantastic.
Get you fully set up to keep it in good shape.
Yeah, lay down some base coat, protect all your surfaces, and go enjoy it. That is what you bought it for. We're going to help you keep it looking great. So yeah, congrats, Hefe. So we're gonna get ready to sign off. Gosh, what a fantastic group you guys all have been. So many questions,
awesome
so specific, so validating with regards to the work that you and your team and just us as an organization, put into to launching this line. I definitely know the products work excellently. They smell great, effective.
And just like everything else, we use them, so we got to develop them for ourselves first.
Yeah, it's part of our life, guys. I mean, I'm a car guy, but I'm a incorporate a vehicle into every adventure and life experience possible kind of guy.
Absolutely.
As are so many of our employees that were screaming and very excited about this.
Yeah,
so, thank you guys for joining us. Don't forget, we have our 20% liquid off sale going on right now till the 24th of June. If you're out there washing or you want to buy some of the Adventureline liquids that we just talked about, they are on sale, 20% off until the 24th at griotsgarage.com. Be sure to subscribe and like the video. Hopefully we taught you something. Hopefully we answered your specific question. If we did not, join us on Friday for No Questions Left Behind, where we'll be diving into even more of your questions. There are way too many to answer. So thank you guys so much for joining us.
You guys are great. Love the engagement.
Yeah, have fun in your garage and have fun out on the road using your adventure vehicles.
Yeah, summer starts this weekend officially. Get out there.
Well, I roll out at sunrise with the mountains on my mind. Got my RV packed and ready, chasing freedom down the line. But the road gets rough and muddy, and the dust sure likes to cling. When the day is done and the fun's been won, I know just what to bring. Griot's Garage Adventure Line keeps my rig looking mighty fine. From the roof to the wheels, the seats and the steel, it's adventure ready every time. Play hard, don't be afraid to get dirty. With Griot's, you're always in your prime. Clean up and shine with Adventure Line.